For millions of years, the Earth breathed in a steady, unbroken rhythm. The late Cretaceous period hosted a biologically thriving global ecosystem that had locked itself into a stable, millions-year-old balance. You can see the scale of that biological dominance in the skeletal remains of the era's apex predators. Creatures carrying tons of muscle, enormous claws, and massive jaws ruled their environments with absolute supremacy. This trackway of deep footprints preserved in solid stone shows how immense their physical footprint really was. Massive herds of herbivores advancing across the continents literally carved out valleys and reshaped the physical geography of the planet through their sheer weight. This ecosystem was incredibly robust. Every creature had a specific role in an entrenched biological machine, and it would take an unimaginable external force to unseat them. Meanwhile, entirely detached from that vibrant world below, a massive 10-kilometer-wide rock tumbled silently through the vacuum of space. Born from the collision of ancient celestial bodies, this fragment had been drifting across the solar system for millions of years, locked on a collision course with Earth. The exact moment it breached the Earth's upper atmosphere, the air ahead of the rock compressed so violently that it instantly ignited. The surface became incandescent, turning the asteroid into a blinding fireball hurtling downward at 70,000 kilometers per hour. Millions of years of terrestrial evolution were about to intersect with the cold, unforgiving laws of orbital mechanics. This high-altitude satellite view shows the curve of the Yucatan Peninsula in present-day Mexico. That coastline is the exact geographical target where the asteroid made contact. The impact released kinetic energy equal to over 100 million megatons, vaporizing the ocean in a fraction of a second. The planet's crust folded like wet sand, fracturing the bedrock and carving out a wound 20 kilometers deep and 200 kilometers wide. The sudden, violent displacement of rock and water generated a blast so intense it actually exceeded the physical limits of sound itself. While the initial strike released a staggering amount of kinetic energy, the planetary-scale chain reactions it triggered would prove even more lethal. First, the mechanical transfer of energy into the surrounding ocean displaced massive volumes of water. Kilometer-high tsunamis radiated outward, scouring coastlines thousands of miles away. Billions of tons of shattered rock and molten metal hurled into space began raining back down. Atmospheric friction turned every piece into an incandescent projectile. The falling debris caused a massive thermal spike on the surface, pushing temperatures over 1,000 degrees. The immense creatures that survived the initial shockwave were baked alive by the air itself. The surface of the planet briefly operated as a literal furnace. Within hours, nearly every exposed macroscopic organism on Earth was entirely eradicated. For the life that somehow escaped the heat, the immediate threat came from above. A dense global cloud of ash and vaporized sulfur settled in the upper atmosphere, completely blocking solar energy from reaching the ground. Look at this food web chart. Without sunlight, photosynthesis stopped, and the foundational plant life withered. Without vegetation, massive herbivores starved. The food chain broke completely, leaving apex predators with nothing to consume, falling to the freezing conditions. The firestorm was devastating, but the total collapse of the biological energy web is what ultimately finished the giants. Yet, beneath that gray blanket, life persisted. Hidden deep underground and submerged in river mud, tiny mammals and insects were physically shielded from the extreme temperature swings. We can actually see the physical proof of this planetary reset globally. This thin, dark layer of ash and iridium, known as the KPG boundary, permanently separates the rock strata of the reptile era from everything that came after. In a freezing world with virtually no food, requiring only a fraction of a calorie to survive became the ultimate biological advantage. The apocalypse acted as a brutal evolutionary filter. It severely punished massive physical size while aggressively rewarding microscopic adaptability. Over decades, the atmospheric dust slowly settled. Weak, pale sunlight filtered through the clouds, finally warming the frozen soil. Water seeped into the cracked earth, reaching forgotten seeds. Against all logic, new life sprouted through the ash. The surviving mammals emerged from the shadows. With the giant reptiles erased, entire ecological niches were suddenly wide open, waiting to be claimed. These small, highly adaptable creatures began to multiply and evolve. Over millions of years, they developed complex intelligence, eventually learning to build tools and look up at the very sky that nearly destroyed their world. The Chicxulub impact functioned as a violent, necessary spark, clearing the ecological board for an evolutionary reset that ultimately made human civilization possible.